And when you go around the edge, you take your line work and you go in towards the pupil like that to get the softened edge all the way around. You wouldn't do that with the tiger, though. It would be more of an almond shape with softened edges. And I'd actually do the wash first, the color first, and then put the pupil in. But I'd make sure you can outline the pupil, you know, draw a line around it with sepia, and then not paint it in until after you've got your color in. So, okay, so we have pretty solid pupil color. This looks kind of. You put that on afterwards, and I use white. But you don't do that until after it's dry. So then the next thing would be to do the line around it. So you start up here. And that's the part that takes nerve to be able to do it, to be able to, you know, do the line with a steady hand. But one thing you'll discover, if you start out slowly, don't be in a hurry, go very slow. You can turn your paper like that. That's a way of doing it. So that you don't have to do one continuous line. You can start and stop. Just don't press down too hard. You want to keep the tip of your brush engaged with the paper. Anchor it with your little finger.
That's about with all the little strokes. Any stroke, it has more just a tip.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And that's why I wear them out, wear the tips off. So, okay, so for the wolf then we'd shadow in this area, in this area. If you notice up at, I've got it upside down, but if you notice up at the top there's a shadow softened as it comes down. But you would do that after you put the color in. Now, wolves come in all, eyeballs come in all colors. They're not really green. This one is misleading because the color isn't really green. So I'm going to go with what I know to be a wolf's actual eye color, which is more of a gold amber color. Color up at the top, but we'll be putting a shadow over that. So again, you come in like this, because you don't need a solid color. If you notice, it isn't really a solid color. It's got kind of lines and little sort of ligatures and eyeball. Almost look like veins, depending on the.
Where?
Okay, now I'm going to come in with a little burnt sienna mixed with my yellow. And a little sepia mixed in with the burnt sienna. So now I've got a little darker version of the orange. So now I'm going to put that around the edge. And as I paint it in, I'll drag out those little brush strokes like this. But I'm not putting the shadow in just yet. And this is kind of the same technique you'd use for the tiger. But the difference is your iris will have some green in it, but the body of the eyeball will still be gold, and we'll do that first because we want that to be a smooth tone. Whereas the wolf, it's not actually smooth, it's more watery looking. And this is subtle. You don't really see that much of coming up. It's softened. So your darkest pigment will be towards the edge of the rim of the eyeball, and then it softens as it goes close towards the pupil. Okay, so around the edge here, this is where your hair pattern gets all crazy, because this actually goes in here. This part goes in. And it's actually not quite that dark. An hour to do at least. Right. So I wouldn't be doing it quite as quickly as this. Right. But to be able to see the illusion of of the eye, though you really do need to do the rest of it. So.
These eyes do almost look greenish, but they're not.
No, I think it's reflecting from grass that's in the photo. They're either in the, where the guy is was taking the picture, there was grass in the foreground. So the wolf's reflecting that in his eyes.
What's been your favorite animal to do?
Cheetahs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I really like cheetahs. As a big cat, they're very kind. They're very sweet. They're not aggressive at all. Of course, they kill to eat, but
Right.
but I've been around a lot of cheetahs. They're really dependable. They're so nice, so sweet, and
Just the dainty looks that
they are, and they get mistreated in the wild. Tigers go after 'em. I'm sorry, lions go after them. Leopards go after them. Poachers go after them. So that's basically it. You don't really need to leave this highlight quite as light. Excuse me. But when you when it dries, and you will want to go back and reinforce the darks, make them really dark. And then when that dries, and again, I would reinforce these darks here. I wouldn't leave them as light as these are. Up at the top, especially up towards the brow, you'd want that to be a little darker. And then I put a highlight in.
Yeah. Is it dry enough for a highlight?
Even if it doesn't
Not quite.
have one,
Not
I
quite.
usually put one in it.
Right, I always do. You have to put some.
You always put a highlight.
Yeah.
It's not in the
Sure.
photo.
Oh, here we go. There are a couple of ways of doing it. If the animal, this isn't a white highlight.
No,
Does the tiger have a white highlight in that eyeball? Can you
I
see?
think, well,
Oh, I know. And then you,
And that's
Take a
opaque
little.
white.
that's
the
opaque white, right.
Is that
And
the
then-
only opaque that you use, or do you use
I like
opaque?
gouache the best. No, I tried using ink. It crackles. It dries and it crackles. It
Okay.
isn't very good. So gouache is the best. It's designed to be used with watercolor. They're
Right.
compatible. Pigments are the same.
Right. Do you use gouache for other
Yeah, I do.
features?
Occasionally I'll go back and change something and I want it to be opaque, and I'll use gouache. But 90% of the time I don't.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of rare when you
It
use
is. It is. It's nice. I always use it for the highlights. though.
highlight. Okay.
And the whiskers.
Oh, and whiskers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now we're going to make a little bluish white tone. Make sure it isn't too wet, because you want it to really be pretty opaque, but you don't want it to be pure white. You want it to be blue. So,
Right. Okay.
so you look at the highlight, and what that is kind of reflecting the shadow of the lashes of the wolf are reflected in the highlight.
Yeah.
So you'll just do kind of a little sort of random spot, not all the same size, but connected.
Mm-hmm.
And you want one of them, say the center one, to be slightly bigger, and then once it dries you can soften it. And then,
Come back.
oh, sorry. So then you want to come in with pure white on top of that when it dries. And it should be a little bit bluer. I didn't make it quite pale enough. But I actually have a brush designed for this. I didn't bring it with me. It's called a pointer brush, and it's real short bristles that are very pointed. I have to wait for them to dry. That's good enough.
Pretty.
So for this one, you'd
Slow and show it for a second.
sure.
Not up there.
Oh.
Down where, I'm focusing in the middle of your palette right now.
Oh,
Any
okay.
spot that I got to focus.
Okay, here I'll leave
Oh,
that
wait,
there.
wait, we need the wolf.
Oh,
on
right,
there.
right, right. Okay.
Well, one's at one angle and the other's at the other angle. So that's
Is that a still? Oh, no, you're doing a video.
this is the video.
So if I were
How's
doing
that?
this in reality, I'd do a darker white.
A darker white because
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's a little Either darker. gray or blue.
Right, because this is a
isn't it?
photograph, because,
Yeah.
yeah, and this should have been a little bluer, but,